Yesterday, on my way back from a job, my wife sends me a message and says she needs some boards cleaned out from the daycare. So I stop over there, and as I'm getting out of the truck, going in to ask her where the cleanup is, my granddaughter runs up to me. She latches onto my leg and she tells me she goes, "Papa, I love you." And then she has these teddy bear shoes on. She goes on to tell me about the teddy bear shoes and that she put them on at her home, and my home, my house. She goes on. This goes on and on, all excited for what, I don't know. She's seen her grandpa. The light of my day. I can't tell you how much I love them. But it got me to thinking about my own grandpas. Everybody gets or has two grandpas, some we know and some we don't. My grandpas, I think about them, my mom's side, my grandpa Stid, just got me to thinking about what impact we have, and we don't know. My grandpa Stid was, well before I was even thought of, was a war hero. He was in World War II, lost his leg in the war, he got injured. And the story goes, he tells the story, and I have no reason to not believe it. He said, well, while he was hospitalized, about to get before he got his leg amputated, I think, maybe in the process of it, he said he was visited by the Lord, and the Lord asked him, or gave him the option to go home to him, to his eternal home, or to go back to his family and raise his family. Well, he chose to go back to his family, and he raised his family. Later on, he became my grandpa. And I remember growing up, he didn't have a leg, and I never knew him to have a leg. I never was able to play catch with him or do any kind of physical wrestling around or anything like that, but I remember him as in spite of not having those things, I remember he was at every game, even the night he died. The night he died, he left from one of my baseball games, and then he died later that night. But he was always there, though. He was always at ball games, and not just at ball games. The Stids just knew how to do family. Everything centered around grandma and grandpa. We were at their house all the time. Our best friends were cousins. Our aunts and uncles were not only just aunts and uncles, they were kind of an extension of our parents. They're just, like I said, the Stids just knew how to do family. And I know it all stemmed back from Grandpa and Grandma, forever remembered. And like I said, in spite of all those things that he couldn't do physically, he was there all the time. He was a mountain of a man, tremendous person. And I'll never forget him. And that type of life doesn't just end when it ends. It continues on. And he died in '83. I wasn't even quite 15 years old yet, but I'll remember him forever the rest of my life as the influence that he made on my life, the sitting down and talking to him, being at games, all those things spilled over into my life, and he's a very big influence on my life. In contrast to that, my grandpa Knapp died when I was about 2. I never knew him. And also, something that I thought about yesterday, is my dad never really talked about him. He never really said anything about him. He really didn't have much of a relationship with him. And I believe that, and I have no doubt that it is, because when my dad was a small kid, my Grandpa Knapp chose to leave. My dad talked about a relationship with his grandpa, but he never ever talked about his dad much. Not good or bad. Like I said, no relationship at all. He just didn't have. I don't remember hearing a whole lot about anything. The only reason I knew he left his family was my mom said something about it, but she wasn't talking bad either. She just said that he wasn't there. And I think about that because you had one grandpa who stuck it out, still remembered and forever remembered, and one grandpa that left. And when he's gone, he's gone. There really isn't much memory of that. And I look at my dad. In spite of all that, he was an amazing man. He chose to stick it out. He chose his family. He chose to coach. He did have both legs, and he did all those physical things. And it didn't make him a better man than Grandpa, but what makes him so much more of a hero is that he never had an example, and yet he became the example. And I look at my own life, when I look back on all these things, and the grandkid that hugs my leg, I look back at that and I said, it's because of these things, because of what they did, because they stuck it out, because they chose their families and they realized that they were put here. They were put here for a greater purpose than themselves. And I think about Christianity, and it goes back to it's selfishness or selflessness. It is basically that. Who are we living for? For what purpose is our life? Our life's not our own. All the decisions that I make, all the decisions that I will make, I hope and pray that those memories come flooding back, and I'm confident they will, that a hug from a grandkid and your mind goes back to what your grandparents were. A hug from a child and your mind goes back to the sacrifices that your own mom and dad made. I want to thank them for their sacrifice, but I want to know, I'm so thankful that God brings them back to memory. Because I'm choosing to not look at the circumstances. You get flooded with doubts and fears and that you're less than you should be. You made stupid mistakes or financial decisions or responsibilities, and mountains mount up that you don't know how in the world do I fix this. And a lot of times, especially when you're self-employed, you look at, God, I screwed up. I got a mountain. I don't know how to get past. But my dad, my mom, my grandparents, great examples of showing me that those things, with God, all things are possible. I can say to that mountain, because they showed me that I can say to that mountain, be thou removed, and it will be. I can stick it out, and it will make a difference. And then my prayer goes to that, God. Not my will, but yours be done. And my will is this, to be one with Jesus as he was one with the Father. And my will is also the prayer of Jesus when he said, God, what you have given me, let me not lose. I've got 8 children. I got a wife that stands with me. Got 5 grandchildren who love me. And I get to spend my life. Let my life be an example to them to love Jesus with all of my heart, with all of my soul and all of my strength, that they might know you, follow you, and never stray, and that they will stick it out to you. In Jesus' name.